play Aston Villa. I can tell you now, they're not going to win this game. They've taken 1 point from 14 matches against teams at the top 6. They've conceded 33 goals. Manchester United are a well-oiled machine. They are not going to win this game.
Jesus Christ. Don't ever say words like that, because...
I can tell you, those are not the words of Regan Walsh messaging me at halftime. Those are the words of the Daily Mirror's Darren Lewis at halftime on one of the international streams, which somebody clipped up and put on Twitter yesterday.
I don't just don't say these type of things. Jesus Christ.
No, please do, because you deserve to be shamed.
Well, yes. I mean, we'll call any idiots out, but I'll happily do it. But yeah, gotta say, good result, Phil. Your Aston Villa side. I mean, let's get the cat out of the bag straight away. I mean, even you weren't expecting it, because you said on the podcast last week that you weren't expecting Aston Villa to get that new manager's bounce and win that game.
Oh, I expect quite a few things. I do want to stand the line a second. Obviously, a ridiculous line to say. You don't say that part out loud.
No.
You think it to yourself, obviously, but yeah, you're supposed to think it in your head if you're like myself and every other Villa fan did.
100%. Like, for them type of stuff, you're like, why would you go there? Like, why say that?
I might have believed what he was saying, because of course I'm used to these things happening against Manchester United. But
yeah, because wasn't that Villa's first win against Man United at home since '95? Did I see the stat
I was
yesterday?
not even fucking born last time that happened.
Yes.
That's just how amazing that is.
26 years.
But of course, Gabriel Bonhor is going to do the 50-50 thing and come out saying that we shouldn't be over celebrating like we've just won the Champions League.
I mean, he's another knobhead who works for. So let's not listen to any word he says. Yes, he may have been a great player.
If there was ever a quote that I'd seen that a pundit just didn't believe in what the hell they were saying, it was that. There's no way he thinks that, really. He just said it because it was leaked.
Yeah, it was definitely one of them, like Ron Hall saying, like, he's just doing that to get a reaction.
He was on the wind-up.
He's just getting a reaction from Villa fans.
I hope he was on the wind-up.
Well, you'd expect so with that sort of comment. But
us Villa fans don't claim him, by the way.
No. I think Villa fans, post his career, have definitely distanced themselves away from him, and he doesn't really reflect what a true Villa fan thinks when it comes to opinions on games and situations on a whole at the club.
Yeah, it's nice that you speak about it, but then you can't help but reply like, so why didn't you do that then, Villa?
Like, you got to be prepared to take any backfire that comes at his way, and he just doesn't seem to be willing to take it.
He's never. If there's something we're sticking with Villa Manchester United, I also want to stick with pundits as well, because where are all those pundits that are saying Manchester United are back? Where have they gone?
I mean,
they've gone now.
Yeah.
I saw a literal Sky article the Saturday before the game saying, Manchester United back.
Yeah, I never suggested that in my wildest dreams. I said, like, we're looking good under Ten Hag apart from the game, but it's slow improvements. The man's, 3-4 months into the job. He's had one transfer window. I always say you need to give a manager a minimum of 2 summer windows, and then you can judge him. It's going to take time to get his stuff across and everything that he wants sorted. Poor performance from United. I'm not going to take anything away from Villa, but obviously I'm going to look at this as the Man United point of view. It was just a poor performance, considering like how Villa were heading into this game and how United were league form heading into this game. You'd expect a much better United, but that's football. You can't say based on form what will happen.
Yeah, it was like watching the game. It could have been more obvious that they didn't seem to be too aware of what the Villa game plan was. There was a lot of space in behind for Villa to just exploit, and it never seemed to get plugged up. So I think that's actually quite bad on Ten Hag for not really realising that. For someone who's supposed to be good tactically.
Yeah, I think it's because it's a new manager and it's kind of one of them, like, you don't know what to expect. Yes, as the game goes on, you would expect him to be able to change his tactics in game and change it all up. But I think it was just a bit of a surprise to him because I think the way Villa set up, it was definitely, I don't think anyone was expecting that sort of lineup in terms of like how the shape would be.
Personally, I think if you'd done the research on Emery, you wouldn't have been too surprised.
Maybe not, but for me, looking back at it now, I mean, I've got the lineups here, and 4-2-2 is just not what you would expect of Aston Villa. Maybe if you watch some Villarreal games this season or last season when Unai Emery was there, maybe he did play that a lot there. But for me, I didn't expect that to be how the Villa set up. Yeah, he may have wanted them to try and do that, but it's just trying to and then actually executing it is a whole different thing.
Yeah, like, but back to not back to more with Villa. It was just organised. It was all we asked us to be under Gerrard if he was going to implement whatever how his plan was. We never looked organised. Remember, there was no identity, no style.
It looks like a more resolute and competent team. Like they knew what they were doing and where they wanted to play each pass and this stuff.
You've been seeing all the player interviews that have come out. They've all been speaking about, he told us all this, and even during the game we were hearing different things. Like that's all Gerrard had to do.
Yeah, but that's the basics of management, though. Surely.
It's yeah. But you have to tell your players where the hell they have to go and what they have to do.
Yeah, it's just baffling that they're having to come out and say this is actually a good thing and we've been told what to do. Like, no, that's literally just what a manager should be doing in the first job. Like, that is his job as a manager.
Yeah, the weeks gone, I know it's still very early, but there's going to be a point, maybe, if it goes very well, where us Villa fans are going, God, how are we doing I am around manager?
Yeah.
It's just the little things that you can see him on the touchline that he's just got it in his head and he's directing on the pitch during the game, changing it up, because I think towards the end it did become like a 4-5-1 and we were happy to just sit back and counter.
Yeah. Definitely, I think it was an appointment, and I've said it to you a few times, it was a surprising one for me because of how comfortable he was looking at Villarreal at the time. When the appointment came, they were 7th in La Liga. They'd obviously got through to the knockout rounds of the Europa Conference League or Europa League. I can't remember which one Villarreal are in.
They were the Champions League semi-finalists last season.
Yeah. So
I think they were in the Conference League.
Yeah, they finished top of their Conference League. It was just one of them where it's caught me by surprise. And like you even said to me, he's not a bad manager. It was just his time at Arsenal. He's getting remembered for a bad spell rather than actually. If you look at his career as a whole, he's a really good manager.
Yeah, if he goes to a club where he's allowed to implement his vision, the players listen to him. It breeds nothing but success. Yeah.
100%, that is the way. And you, as a manager, you've got to be allowed that type of freedom, because if you're not allowed to do that, then in my point of view, I'm walking out the door as a manager. If I'm not getting that type of pre-contract agreement signing as a manager, if you're told you can't do this, this and this, and even in terms of like signings as well, if he's not getting like, all right, these are the players I want. Yes, you may not be able to get my first choice, but have like a list of 5, and the owners or something's not allowing you to do that, then I would walk if I was any manager in that situation.
Yeah, like the hope is that he'll work closely with the recruitment team and will actually get players that the manager wants this time. It doesn't help right now that the obvious is happening and we're getting linked with every single Villarreal player already.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the case when a new manager takes over. I mean, obviously, Man United, a prime example of that. This past summer, how many Ajax and all Dutch players were we linked with? Yes, we obviously signed Malacia and Lisandro Martinez from the Netherlands. But it just, and Anthony as well. I forgot about him for a second. But we
the
just
one you
seemed to
spent
be.
nearly £100 million on.
Yes, but it just seemed that this summer we were linked with every player in the Eredivisie possible.
Yeah, like the main player we've been linked with is Jeremy Pena, who pretty much, if I'm going off of where he'd fit in this team, he'd be pretty much the winger.
Yeah.
But the right winger under Emery is quite an interesting role. They don't necessarily play as a winger; they're allowed to just run forward, and they're like another attack.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this Villarreal team now,
Essentially,
they have
what
got.
Leon Bailey was pretty much doing, or Jacob Ramsey. It's one of them roles. But after I saw Ramsey yesterday, I'd rather think we should stick with him because he looked great.
Yeah, definitely use that promising young player, and I think he could definitely develop into something. And I think that's what he needed is just a more run of actual game time, which he seems to be getting like hit and miss under Gerrard when he would get used. I mean, I feel like towards the latter time he was getting used.
You know what it was? I think a lot of midfield players just want a bit more freedom to do what they do. Like Douglas Luiz always looked a bit crap at playing in like the defensive midfield role, whereas now you put him in it, he looks unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just saw your reaction, and I know exactly what that's for, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes. Final words on this. Obviously, good win for Aston Villa, and the new manager bans has happened up to 13th now.
Just one thing, because I feel like we didn't finish with United. We went straight to Villa talk. Cristiano Ronaldo cannot be starting another game for your team.
No.
Yesterday proves that this man is detrimental to whatever the hell Eric Ten Hag wants to implement.
Like, I don't know if we said it on the podcast or us two individually, but just move Marcus Rashford back up top and then put Garnacho out on the wing, because he's just.
You wouldn't have seen it, but there was about like he made the triple change. He put Martial on as one of them. He's ended up putting Martial on the left, Rashford pretty much in the middle, behind Ronaldo.
Yeah.
What? Ronaldo was literally the worst player on the pitch. I don't know how he played the full night.
No, it's just it's getting more and more infuriating the more you watch it, because it's just like, yes, Ronaldo is a phenomenal player and will go down as one of the world's best, but he just doesn't fit in this style, and you can't be shoehorning a player to fit your style just because of who he is.
You know you're having a bad game when Tyrone Mings is pocketing you.
Yeah.
That's not even a detriment.
It's just an embarrassing.
Mings has actually been very good the last 3 games, I'd say. Good silly since Gerrard left.
But yeah, I don't understand why they're trying to like get Ronaldo to play. I feel like now just because of who he is, rather than his actual talents, because he just doesn't work in this system.
Yeah, there were so many times when we've got the ball, we have a lot of possession around the back, just passing it around. Ronaldo's not really making an effort to press or anything. But Martinez is holding the ball for like 20 seconds. What's Ronaldo doing, just standing there, waiting for him to kick it? There's no urgency in what he wants to do anymore. And there's a bit of a laziness when he's trying to win the ball as well, and like the crosses are coming.
I mean, though, on some of the crosses, Ten Hag did say in his post-match conference they were putting in the balls too early, and he was never going to win some of the crosses that were put into him. So it's just one of them where you think United have got to look better at getting the balls into him, and then make better use of his abilities. But yeah, it's one of them where I think, if United were to lose him come what May, I think or even January, I don't think United fans will be too disheartened, because it's just he doesn't seem to be fitting into this system.
No, you got to move
anymore. All good things come to an end.
You had a good career, but right now you're not what the team needs.
Yeah, 100%.
It's damaging.
Right, let's crack on with the rest of the Premier League roundup. Spurs losing to Liverpool. We've been questioning it these last two episodes about Conte, and they seem to be at a stale point. And I think the first half yesterday definitely proved that.
Yeah, it's just a really confusing thing about them right now, because they'll start a game very defensive, just trying not to concede, and yet they always do. But then the second half, they unleash the attacking talent that they have, and they actually look good.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2 minutes within Dejan Kulusevski coming on, he gets an assist, and Spurs are right back in the game, and you're just like, where is that the first 70 minutes previously? Because it's so confusing to see.
Yeah, it's also a sign maybe they missed Kulusevski as well. He's been out for a little while, and the first time he comes back in, they look decent again.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to this weekend, and obviously Sweden aren't at this World Cup, so he should be good and fit post World Cup, because obviously there's one more game left in the Premier League, I believe. So, and I don't know who they're playing in the Carabao Cup this week. So I think it's actually good that he's coming back now, and hopefully post World Cup he can continue to have the form that he had pre his injury, because he did look like such a crucial player under Conte.
Yeah, you can only hope so for their sake, I guess. They're going to aim for top 4, and right now, while they're still in it, the opinion that's being directed by a section of Tottenham fans at Antonio Conte isn't really going to fly, because they're exactly where they want to be, even if the football isn't particularly great.
No, it's not the prettiest, but at the same time, they are still getting like the results just to keep them in and around that European tour, and there's still over half a season left to go this season, so things can definitely change around. What they will be hoping that it changes sooner rather than later.
I think they're in a good spot, considering that Chelsea, I guess you could say Liverpool as well, for other parts, haven't been perfect, which is why they're in the top 4 now.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of Liverpool, Mohamed Salah getting a brace, taking his tally of the season up to 6 goals now. We had spoke on him going a little bit quiet and not looking as good as he has done in the past, but yesterday he looked really good and took his chances when they came to him.
And maybe he was listening.
Yes.
He wasn't. Let's just get that out. He definitely wasn't.
It's nice to have a bit of hope. But yeah, looked really good, and I think that was the kind of game I think he needs just to maybe kickstart his season. Again, it's a bit unfortunate for him in terms of kicking his season on, because we're going to a World Cup pause now for the next 4 to 6 weeks. So by the time the Premier League comes back, is he going to be in the same form? You never know. So it's going to be intriguing to see what happens post World Cup for that Liverpool team. Do they get that balance of looking good again, or do we go back to questioning what is going on with this Liverpool team?
I don't know. Obviously, salary is massively important to them, which is why they maybe look not so good when he's not been firing. I guess I don't know. It's a confusing one, and
Mm.
it was why when Liverpool start playing badly because we've been so used to them being good the last few seasons.
Yeah. Right. Next up, we will look at Chelsea Arsenal. Gabriel Magalhaes scoring the sole goal for Arsenal in that game. Again, I think it was a rather disappointing performance from Graham Potter's side.
Do you think maybe there's a case of some of these players just not being able to suit the style that Graham Potter wants of them?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the Aubameyangs, the Sterlings in this team.
Mm. Yeah, they 100% aren't Graham Potter type players, are they?
Yeah. Doesn't have he's playing Sterling at wing back. It ain't gonna work, is it?
No. Like that's
and I'm not the biggest Sterling fan. I don't see what he offers for a top club anymore. But yeah, he ain't gonna do much from wing back.
No. I mean, even Pep Guardiola wasn't crazy enough to play him at wing back.
Not unless he was desperate.
No, that was obviously the truth. But yeah, there's too many holes in this Chelsea team at this minute to say, like, okay, these are actual contenders. I think obviously he hasn't had transfer window to make it his team yet. But working with the players he got, you can see, like you say, some of them just don't seem to fit his style of play.
Yeah, but what I find is that I feel like he'll be going for midfielders more than like attacking players. Because we saw at Brighton, this man doesn't care much for actual quality attacking players.
Mm.
So I don't think they're going to be making a bid for Danny Welbeck come January.
Stranger things have happened.
But I don't know about that. But you're asking a lot with that one. But
yeah, true.
They're obviously getting linked with like Caicedo, who's going to be available for a hell of a lot of money because Brighton have no reason to sell whatsoever. And then you've got other players as well around. That Trossard's obviously going to get linked. Maybe he's the attacking player they would need.
Yeah. It's one of them where you're like, Graham Potter's sake, it'd be good to get them players in because they know his style of play, know what he wants, and gets it fluidity-wise. But at the same time, you're like, well, if it doesn't work with the 2 or 3 players that you could potentially bring in from Brighton, then you're looking at like, okay, is that actually the problem, or are they Brighton players not good enough to step up to that Chelsea level? Yes, they're good at a Brighton level and can keep that team looking well and steady in the Premier League, but then you ask them to go that step further and try and be a top 4 set of players, be title challenging, Champions League challenging players. Is that then just a step too far for them? And so should he be actually looking at other players across the league and Europe to fill the holes in the void that he's currently got?
Yeah, but that obviously will come down to the recruitment strategy that whatever they have in place. You'd think they got Graham Potter in for this exact reason, and they've just got in the guy from Southampton as well.
Joe Shields.
Yeah, I mean everybody's leaving the Southampton ship right now.
Yeah, so we'll get onto that in a second. Final bit on the Chelsea transfer potential stuff. Obviously, there was a lot of talk towards the end of it that they were going to try and make a move for Ronaldo, and Thomas Tuchel at the time didn't seem keen on it. Do you think that's something they actually look to do in the January transfer window? Because it does seem like he's Todd Bowley's like key marquee player to go, look, we are Chelsea, we can bring in the big players at the club.
Possibly, but has he been watching Ronaldo?
No.
Like,
let's be honest, he probably hasn't.
If the owner thinks Cristiano Ronaldo is the saviour for Chelsea's attacking issues, then he must be as clueless as Abramovich was in moments.
Well, I think he just wants Ronaldo for the name Ronaldo rather than the play, if that makes sense.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Chelsea do not need Cristiano Ronaldo. Chelsea Football Club, Champions League winners in the last 3 seasons. do not need a big name player to get their name on the map.
No, I 100% agree. But I think to grow their, I would say, American audience more, I think he's the type of player they need. I agree, but I think after looking at that summer transfer window where they tried to move for him, and that apparently being one of the reasons Tuchel got the sack in the end is because he didn't want Ronaldo. It kind of leads me towards thinking, do they actually make a move for him?
Do you not actually think that was because they hadn't looked at Aubameyang at that point?
A bit. Well, I think it was one of them from a lot of the press readings that I saw.
Ronaldo was the preference, but they ended up getting Aubameyang instead.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because Aubameyang is the man who's worked under that manager and has had success.
Yeah. But I think now with Potter in charge, I think you'll see something different.
But I don't think, even Ronaldo's not a Graham Potter player.
Oh no, 100%.
Ronaldo won't even run under 10 high. What's he going to do under Graham Potter?
Who knows? But very interesting. Right, let's get on to the Southampton situation now, because obviously losing 4-1 on Sunday to Newcastle, that was the final nail in the coffin for Ralph Hassenhuttl, who has this morning been sacked by the club in what has felt like an 18-month-long period of him potentially getting the sack or not getting the sack.
This man has survived 2 9-0 thrashings, and this is the one that's got him.
Exactly.
Was it this time a year ago they were top of the league? Or was it 2 seasons ago? But I think
it may have been 2 seasons ago.
They've been top of the league under him, and since then it has gone all downhill.
Massively. I mean, it was waiting to happen. Like, every fan was just thinking, how on earth is he still in the job? Like, after each game, whether it be a win or draw or even a loss, and you're like, he's still there. Like, there was a lot of talk this off-season, pretty much from the off at the end of the last season, that he won't be there at the start of this season. He's lasted so far up until this game, so game 13 this past week, or 14 for them specifically. I think inevitability rang true. 18th in the league, 12 points from their 14 games this season. It was just coming. I think it was this time. It felt more like it was going to happen at this season. It was just, when was it going to happen this season?
Yeah, they were left with no choice in the end. It was like the Gerrard thing in the end. Is like, you've gone too far now. There's no turning this around. Like, it has to go. The reaction when they went 3-0 down yesterday was enough to say that it got toxic at St. Mary. Yeah,
and I think it had been toxic for a while, but it was just, I think, the way that they were playing yesterday was definitely 100% time for him to go, and it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and with their ownership, I think it's been proven there clearly isn't something right there at all. Because you have to look at other clubs in manager situations, like Villa, Emery, quality manager has been tempted in. Wolves have got their man now in Julian Lopetegui. Who knows if that does work for them or not? Trying to remember who else down the bottom. The switch.
But even Newcastle, if we flip back 12 months or so ago, when they managed to bring in Eddie Howe, he was the man, and look how well that's got. Or Newcastle,
you could say Leeds under Jesse Marsh as well. They've had the moments, and it looks like they've got something. They just have to keep doing it consistently.
Yeah.
But Southampton have missed the tree.
Yeah, definitely.
And now what are they left with?
It's very confusing. I mean, a lot of reports coming out today saying that they're linked with Luton Town manager Nathan Jones. For me,
I could feel a tear in your eye as I was saying.
It doesn't seem like the right appointment though, because he's doing a fantastic job at Luton. They're just outside the playoffs at the minute. And if we flip back a couple of years back when he left Luton to go to another team that higher up in the league or in a division. In this case, he left for Stoke City. It didn't go well, and within 12 to 18 months, he was crawling back to Luton Town. And I don't see what the appeal for him personally would be to go from Luton to Southampton.
Oh, I could tell you exactly what the appeal would be. It's called the Premier League.
Yeah, but
he won't be looking at the situation. He'll be going, "Oh, managing the Premier League, that's quite tempting. Am I going to get this opportunity again? Who knows?"
Yeah, I agree in that sense, but I feel like the story he's been building over the last 6-7 years or so at Luton. I mean, he's not long managed his 300th game in the club. It seems like he is Luton, and you associate Nathan Jones with Luton. And for me, it just maybe because I do have a bit of Luton bias towards me. That's why I'm just thinking it doesn't seem like a managerial appointment where you think for Southampton anyway that he can get them out of this trouble and make them a constant 10 to 14 type Premier League team.
Yeah, like if you're going to look at all the options, I don't even think Nathan Jones' name would come into the conversation for Southampton fans, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Like, we know who the number one option should be, and Southampton would have absolutely no harm in speaking to him, and that's Sean Dyche.
We're even trying to convince Poch to come back in for a bit.
I had TalkSport on for half an hour, and someone already tried to peddle that one. Like, he turned Villa down, allegedly. Like, he's not coming to you.
Nice little bit of romance back in the air.
No, come on. We have to be realistic here.
Yeah, I think
that's not going to happen.
No. Well, Sean Dyche, I think that would... to me, it makes a lot more sense than bringing in Nathan Jones, a manager that is experienced in the Premier League. And I think Sean Dyche would be able to get the Saints out of this trouble that they're in.
Exactly. He's probably the best candidate and most realistic candidate available. It would just be down to whether Dyche would want that. Like, that would be the big thing that maybe stops that.
Yeah. Speaking on Newcastle, though, looking phenomenal, up to third in the Premier League now, following this win, and Miguel Almiron continuing his absolute fantastic form and looking worth every penny that Newcastle did pay for him, although he was a bit slow at the start. This season he's looking really good. I mean, 8 goals this season already, absolutely fantastic for Newcastle.
I add a player into my fantasy team, and they actually do good. That's how good Miguel Almiron is.
Yeah. What I do want to say, it's kind of like a funny moment of the week, but Sky have got their...
I'll take it.
So Sky Sports have got their fantasy program that Matt Lucas and Ellis James are on.
I haven't watched a single episode.
No, I haven't seen an episode. Some clips, and Andrew Mensah, who's a comedian, he's also on it, and he was wearing a Newcastle third shirt, and he said he had Almiron on the back, and he said he looks like, you remember when Dolmio had the puppets for their adverts?
Oh, for God's sake.
He said he looks like the sun from the Dolmio adverts, and I was crying when I heard that. I was like, I actually see the resemblance, strangely.
That's just recalled. I'd seen another one. He looks like the kid from the In-Betweeners movie.
Yeah, he really does. Some absolute cracking suggestions. But hey, whether you look like the kid from the In-Betweeners movie or the Dolmio adverts, he's doing a fantastic job and worth every penny.
He only scored well
at this minute on. Yes. Definitely true.
Maybe he's the regen of Santiago Muniz.
Do they still have that Santiago Muniz in their academy?
I swear they loaned him out. Might be wrong though.
I was going to say, I do remember them signing him and everyone getting hyped about their gold ring, but he's still really
we were literally speaking about it at the time.
Oh yeah. I'm not disputing. I do remember us talking about it, but yeah.
So run first.
Right, Yep, so Crystal Palace beat West Ham by 2-1, so that was the end of the Sunday fixtures. And then on Saturday, Leicester beat Everton 2-0. Brighton beat Wolves 3-2. Nottingham Forest and Brentford played out a 2-2 draw. Manchester City managed to beat Fulham just about 2-1 in the end.
Code in the end.
Yes, bringing on Erling Haaland, and then he scored a penalty.
Can I have I was right, because there's you saying, yeah, Fulham are going to get battered, and then I was completely right in saying, actually, no, they're going to give him a game.
Yeah, and they did give him a game.
This is an actual competent Fulham side that are going to survive this season.
Mm-hmm. And then the final one, Leeds beat Bournemouth 4-3, and Crysencio Somerville scored again. And Crysencio, sorry.
You have to say like
looking a really good talent.
Harry Potter
spell. Also could be like the poshest white person ever, Crysencio Somerville.
No, he's black.
I know that, but he just sounds like if you didn't know him, he just sounds like someone.
He's Dutch as well. You should be respecting him.
Again, I know that. Stop interrupting my little analogy. It was like, if you didn't know that or know anything about the lad, you'd just think he's some fucking lad who came from bloody Oxford or Cambridge. Crysencio Somerville, which sounds such a posh name.
It's how you've never been around Oxford.
Been there once to see.
We're not doing this.
When they filmed Harry Potter. But anyway, yeah, that's all the Premier League action. We have one set of games this weekend, the final set of games before the World Cup, and obviously we have Carabao Cup action this midweek. Again, it's the second leg of this Off The Crossbar Podcast derby this week as United play Aston Villa.
Aggregate scores.
Yes, this time on Thursday at Old Trafford. Yeah, we're the home team.
Deflected out away goal.
Talking about Carabao Cup, we've got Manchester City versus Chelsea on Wednesday evening, so that should be a decent watch. And I think Bournemouth versus Everton tomorrow. Again, I think that's a good game to look out for. I feel like that's definitely going to be one of the surprising ones.
It's down to whoever cares.
Like,
either one, are United going to care about a cup run in that one, essentially?
No, I think they'll rather get out of it and play less games as possible, especially as it's a World Cup year that we're just about to enter, like the World Cup period. You don't want to be inviting more fixtures post-World Cup in the new year on your players, because obviously round 4 and 5 and the rest of that will be taking place pretty much from January onwards. Then you've got the FA Cup coming in January for the top Premier League teams. United obviously got their Europa League tie to worry about, which we don't know the result of just yet. But yeah, I think United will probably be just looking to go out with that as soon as possible. So yeah, Villa may win, and Villa fans will be happy 2 wins in a row under Emery. But I think if you look realistically, United won't be taking this competition this seriously this season.
I feel like this competition is potentially a good thing for Unai Emery. Like, he'll change you up on Thursday, put in a few players that I want to see more of as well. Like your McGinn's, maybe your Morgan Sansons. He's alive. Did you know that? He's alive when he came on at the 9th minute. I forgot he existed.
I know we spoke about it the other day, but I completely forgot you said club stuff. I thought you got rid of it.
Like, his tweet was there was a little bit of a. He started it by saying, "Finally, nice to be back on the pitch." Oh, this man hated Gerrard. This man absolutely hated him.
I mean, do you blame him though?
No, I don't.
Exactly. Right, let's head into the European look now, and we'll start off over in Italy as the big derby between Roma and Lazio was won by Maurizio Sarri's side, with Felipe Anderson scoring the sole goal in that game to move Lazio up to 3rd in the league now. Apart from Napoli running away.
It's interesting. Again, can we have like Italia? What was it called again? What they call
Appreciation Week?
No. What do they have it in the 90s do is the Italian football show. Bring that back. You always hear the older generations. I was like, oh, those days. Those are the days, man. Like, I want those days.
What it was called.
Something Italian.
Yeah, anyway, I'm not... I'm not going to fret over it because it's going to
I'll
take me
probably
too long to think about it.
for that.
Yes. Juventus managed to beat Inter Milan 2-0. Good result for them. Also, Adrian Rabiot just seems to have found a new lease of life recently,
Maybe you
which
should have
is
signed
really
him.
strange. No, just no. And obviously, Napoli.
In
Boy,
that
don't
role,
even
yeah.
say that.
In the role Eriksen's supposed to be playing right now, he's absolutely there.
And Napoli beat Atalanta 2-1. Victor Osimhen scoring and getting an assist for that one. Again, looking really, really good. This Napoli team, like, they're so scary.
Yeah, they look very good, and if they carry on, they're probably going to win the league as well, which will go down very well in Naples.
Yes. Over to Barcelona and Spain now this weekend. Obviously, it was a lovely send-off for Gerard Piqué, who played his final professional game this season, and Barcelona managed to win it 2-0 against Almeria. Ousmane Dembele and Frenkie de Jong scoring. Piqué himself did have a couple of chances to score, but just wasn't meant to be. It was one of them where when Lewandowski took that penalty, I was like, please, just for the love of God, can we just let Piqué take it just for the moment and the occasion? I just want Piqué to step up and score.
In the penalty area, let him take the penalty.
Yes, for the love of God, just let Piqué score. But yeah,
not Dembele. Nobody's injuries are like.
Yes, but yeah, perfect win for him to mark a year under Xavi, and great final send off for Gerard Piqué, an absolute legend of the game, and will be missed. And Jesus, we're getting to the age now where players that we watch in the prime of their careers are retiring. I mean, like, I'm just hating this now.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Their time comes to when it happens. I just
Yeah, but I grew up watching these, and
what did Gerard Piqué ever actually do?
He's one of the best defenders in the world. A good spell of time.
No, but you see, Jamie O'Hara and Jermaine Pennant said otherwise, so it must be true.
Yeah, but you know who they work for, so it doesn't count if they're saying anything.
But these are highly respected pundits who have achieved massive success in the game and all their trophies.
That's the second funniest comment I've heard this week. I'll get onto the funniest comment a bit later on.
Let's discuss what, like, Jamie O'Hara and Jermaine Pennant are trying to lecture people on Gerard Piqué's career.
Yeah. You just shut the fuck up, lads. You don't know football.
They know football, but come on. They're on the wind-up again.
I mean, some of their opinions and stuff they come out with, I don't think they do know
maybe on the wind-up, Jermaine Pennant, I look at him and I go, no, you probably do mean that, actually.
Sometimes I feel like O'Hara does mean it, though, as well.
Yeah, there's moments. But who cares? Enough.
Elsewhere in La Liga, Atletico Madrid were held to a 1-1 draw with Espanyol. Again, not looking good for Simeone, having to bring on João Felix just after the hour mark, and Felix does get the goal that brings them level, and Real Madrid don't play until later on tonight. Obviously, a win for Madrid will see them go back on top of the table. Over in the Bundesliga this weekend, and it was a good weekend for Yusufa Moukoko and Borussia Dortmund as they won 3-0 against VfL Bochum. Moukoko scoring a brace, and then Gio Reyna also scoring. Although, did you see the Bochum player when he was down injured? He got hit in the head by the physio. I was like, Jesus.
If his ankle wasn't broken, he certainly suffered concussion.
Exactly. If there's one thing you definitely don't want happening to you, it's the physio running into you.
I thought your leg was broken. You fucking concussed me, you stupid.
Oh, gosh. Elsewhere in the Bundesliga, Bayern managed to beat Hertha Berlin 3-2. Eric Choupo-Moting again scoring a brace this time for Bayern. So maybe summer move potentially is on the cards, although Bayern do seem really happy with him. No, I'm joking.
It can't be any worse than Ronaldo, let's be honest.
True. Elsewhere, Leipzig beat Hoffenheim 3-1. Christopher Nkunku scoring a brace there, and Wolfsburg managed to beat Mainz 3-0. And shock of the weekend in Germany, Bayer Leverkusen battered Union Berlin 5-0.
Xabi Alonso is one to keep an eye on.
Yeah. How long
Even
is it
more
before
so,
he?
Is he the Jurgen Klopp replacement?
I'm starting to believe it a bit more. Maybe he actually is. Finally,
you're definitely in the running.
Yes. Finally, over into France. PSG managed to beat Lorient 2-1. Neymar and Danilo Pereira scoring for PSG. Neymar been involved in both goals there. And then the big game that we talked about on Friday between Marseille and Lyon finished 1-0 to Marseille with Samuel Guigo scoring the sole goal of that game. Right.
I know Neymar's had the red, but I actually can't wait to watch him at the World Cup.
Yeah. It's one of them, like, he's having such a good season. I feel like he's going to have a phenomenal World Cup.
Yeah, it feels like he has amends to make as well. Because Brazil took that 2014 loss so personally. And they want number 6.
Yes. It definitely seems like it was one that they desperately need. Before we get into the Champions League draw, because that has actually happened, I want to talk about my second funniest moment. So I was at the West Brom women's game against Derby yesterday, and the linesman on the opposite side of the pitch was quite a small man. I'd say about roughly the same height as Dennis Wise.
Sorry, you're going to do this in the end today. The very small.
Yeah, and the guy sat behind me and my family said, "How is he keep getting some of these offside calls so wrong? He's so close to the centre of the ground, he should be able to see it and better." And I was like, Jesus Christ, the way that was like so off the cusp and how he delivered it, I was bursting in tears when he said that. I was like, oh my God, that's probably the greatest thing I've ever heard at a football match ever.
Yeah. I wish I was there. I feel like I can't understand it unless I'm there. But
yeah, it was definitely, you had to be there in the moment to appreciate the joke. But now on to the Champions League. So we've had the round of 16 draw take place, and we have some absolute cracking ties to look forward to. My gosh, yes. I don't know what we've seen them.
I had it on. If it looked like I was looking away from you, I just didn't give a shit what you were saying. I was too busy in awe.
But yeah, so ties we have. Let's get the big dogs out of the ring straight away. We have Paris Saint-Germain versus Bayern Munich. What a game that should be! I'm absolutely very excited for that. Isn't that a repeat of the 20? Is that the repeat of the 2020 final?
It's the repeat of the COVID final, yeah.
Yeah. So that should be a good game.
It was an awful
Borussia
Dortmund.
It was a shite game. Borussia Dortmund, they played Chelsea, so the Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang derby.
If he's still there.
Well, yeah, true. I think that should be a really good game. And then Liverpool taking on Real Madrid.
Yes. Last year's final.
Feed me that.
That season's final.
Yeah. So. I know what you meant, don't worry. Really good game. AC Milan versus Tottenham. Oh, flashbacks to 2011.
Was it 2011?
Yep. Joe Jordan on the sideline with Nara Gattuso.
Yeah.
That's 2011.
For a second.
No.
Just hold Joe Jordan back for this.
Yes. Just you don't have, just put Joe Jordan in the stands and just allow him to come onto the sideline for this one.
Yeah, and just loan Gattuso from Valencia to Milan for one game.
Mm-hmm.
Conte will be quite happy about that one, I think.
Yeah, and he'll look to get some sort of vengeance on AC Milan. Other ties we have RB Leipzig taking on Manchester City. Not an easy game for City, but should still win that one.
Yeah. This is a good chance for them to go and scare and conquer it.
Yeah. Going to be very interesting.
At the bit as well, considering he knows what he's doing against Leipzig.
Definitely. Other games we've got Club Brugge versus Benfica, Eintracht Frankfurt playing Napoli, and Inter Milan versus FC Porto are the other games in this season's Champions League. So yeah, looking forward to them taking place. Obviously, we have to wait until round about Valentine's weekend for the round of 16 to take place. I never know the exact date, but it's sometime like mid-February.
February. I think, you were alright with the Valentine's week.
Yeah, no, it's Valentine's Day. Because Valentine's Day is Tuesday.
Yeah.
So the 14th and 15th of February, we have them games. Oh, Jesus Christ, please. Stop with your singing. Yeah, that is all of the action that we looked at this weekend. Obviously, I feel like I have to talk about the MLS Cup final because that actually didn't disappoint us this weekend. LAFC...
I'm willing to allow it.
Thank you. LAFC going on to win 3-0 on penalties after a very, very entertaining 3-3 game in regulation time. Gareth Bale even scoring in extra time to send up to penalties in the 100.
I know it was extra time. 128th minute. Where'd you get this extra time from? It was in a normal period of extra.
No, it was extra time of extra time.
Oh, no, it was, yeah. It said 127 minutes.
Yeah, 127th minute. Last time I checked, that's extra time of extra time.
That to happen then? Because that's the bit I ended up missing.
LAFC's goalkeeper, Maxime Crepeau, got a straight red card, and he also had an injury, if I remember correctly. So whilst that was taking place, that's what added on more period of extra time, because that happened in the 116th minute. So that delayed the game.
Terrible time for your keeper to get sent off.
Hey, John McCarthy knew what he wanted to do.
No, you wouldn't have respected him if he'd have lost. You'd have been calling him a disgrace.
But I'm not. So 3-0 penalty win. Ili Sanchez scoring the winning penalty, and party scenes were happening in Los Angeles over the last 24 hours.
Why it happened at their stadium? It doesn't work in the same way like the Super Bowl does. You don't play at a neutral venue, do you?
No.
Why is that? I don't like that.
I don't know, because the women's one, that happens at a neutral stadium, but for some reason the MLS don't do that at a neutral stadium.
Unfair, to be honest.
It would have been, I think, better for the neutrals to have like just a random stadium. I don't know, say Austin FC Stadium. But
or
I don't
if they
know.
wanted to try and get the audience levels, why don't they go to one of the big NFL stadiums that isn't being used at that week? Try and organise.
I was going to say
football. Soccer.
I think it's just because it's easier to know, like, you're going to have at least one of the two team stadiums available. So I think that's why they just.
It just feels like they could rectify that, because I don't like that one team gets the home advantage.
Yeah, but oh well, not a lot we can do there. But yeah, that is it for this week's podcast. We'll be back towards the end of the week to
the MLS will be fixed when the Las Vegas Villains come in.
Oh, would you shut up with that stupid team name?
They're coming. They're taking over.
Las Vegas Villains. It sounds like the shittest fucking.
How does it? The more you say, the more it sounds like the most American sports team name ever.
It does, but it also sounds god awful.
How does it?
Anyway, we're not going to spend the last of this podcast arguing on. We'll be back later on this week to preview the final games.
Boston Celtics is a good name.
It makes a lot of sense if you look into it. Anyway, let's end the podcast here. We'll be back later on this week to preview the final games of the regular season. The regular season? Fuck me, you got me talking American. This period of the Premier League before the World Cup starts, and look back on any of the. Yes, and look back at any of the talking points from the Carabao Cup, or if Southampton finally have a new manager by the time we record, hopefully it's not Nathan Jones. But until then, it's goodbye from me. And
two depressing podcasts in a row for Regan Wolf. Not only a Manchester United loss, but Nathan Jones becoming the Southampton manager.
Oh, please no. Yeah. Right, and on that, we'll see you later on this week. So make sure you like and subscribe, and wherever you get your podcasts from, make sure you download and get them. And that you're following us on Twitter at OffTCPod as well for all the latest news.
That's it.